It was one of those busy afternoons in the city when everyone seemed too wrapped up in their own world. Cars honked, people rushed past, and nobody noticed the elderly man struggling at the corner grocery store, except for Maya. She was late for her bus but couldn't ignore him. The man, bent with age, was trying to lift 2 heavy grocery bags onto the curb. The bags tore slightly, apples rolling onto the sidewalk. Without thinking twice, Maya ran over. "Let me help you," she said, kneeling to gather the fruit. The man smiled weakly. "You're kind, young lady. Not many stop these days." She walked him all the way to his apartment 3 blocks away, chatting lightly. He told her his name was Mr. Harold, that his wife had passed, and that his son lived too busy a life. When they reached his door, he tried to hand her a few dollars, but she shook her head. "Just promise me you'll take smaller trips next time," she joked. He chuckled softly, eyes shining with quiet gratitude. "You remind me of my late wife. Always helping strangers." Maya smiled, waved goodbye, and thought nothing more of it. But the next day, as she was leaving for work, a sleek black car stopped in front of her building. 4 men in suits stepped out. "Miss Maya?" one asked politely. Her heart skipped. Yes?" The man smiled. "Mr. Harold would like to see you." Maya's first instinct was fear. 4 men in black suits, a luxury car, and a message from an old man she barely knew. It felt unreal. "I think you have the wrong person," she said nervously. One of them smiled reassuringly. "No, Miss Maya. Mr. Harold asked us to bring you safely. He insists." After a hesitant pause, curiosity won over fear. She followed them into the car, her mind racing the whole ride. They drove past the familiar neighborhoods, then through a large iron gate guarded by security. The car stopped in front of a sprawling estate overlooking the city. It looked like something out of a movie. As she stepped out, Mr. Harold was already waiting, this time dressed in an elegant suit, standing tall and confident, nothing like the frail man she'd helped the day before. "Maya," he said warmly, his smile genuine. "I was hoping you'd come." Her jaw dropped. "You live here?" He chuckled softly. "Yesterday, I wanted to see if kindness still existed in the world, without my name, without my wealth. You showed me that it does." She blinked, speechless. "I own a few companies," he continued gently. "But money means little when you can't trust the people around you. You, however, didn't want anything." He gestured toward the grand house. "I'd like to offer you something, not as payment, but as gratitude. You said you worked part-time and studied at night. How about a scholarship?" Maya's lips parted, tears forming. "Sir, I didn't do it for anything." "That's exactly why you deserve everything," he said. In that moment, Maya realized, sometimes, kindness echoes back in ways you could never imagine. Maya could hardly believe what was happening. One moment, she was carrying grocery bags for a stranger, and now she was sitting in a mansion, sipping tea served by a butler. Mr. Harold's assistant handed her a folder. Inside was a letter of recommendation, a scholarship approval, and an offer for an internship at one of his companies. "It's too much," she whispered, voice trembling. "I don't even know what to say." Mr. Harold smiled gently. "Just promise me you'll keep helping people, the way you helped me." She nodded, her eyes glassy. But not everyone believed her story. When Maya told her coworkers and classmates what had happened, most of them laughed. "Yeah, right," one said. "A billionaire just showed up and gave you a scholarship? Sounds like a fairy tale." Even her roommate raised an eyebrow. "You sure he's not trying to get something from you?" The doubt hurt more than she expected. 4 days, she questioned if she should even accept the offer. Maybe it was too good to be true. That weekend, she received a handwritten note delivered to her door. "Don't let the world make you question your own kindness. Harold." Inside the envelope was a single photo, her helping him at the grocery store, unaware someone had snapped it. On the back, he'd written, "The world needs more people who help without cameras watching." Maya pressed the photo to her chest, smiling through tears. For the first time in her life, she realized, sometimes kindness doesn't just change someone else's life, it reminds you of your own worth. Months passed, and Maya's life changed more than she could have ever imagined. She balanced her studies and her new internship at one of Mr. Harold's companies, a community outreach program he had founded years ago but never found the right person to lead. Under his guidance, Maya started a new project, Hands That Help, a small initiative encouraging students to volunteer for the elderly. At first, only a few joined. Then dozens. Soon, it became a citywide effort. One afternoon, while organizing food packages at a senior center, she heard familiar footsteps behind her. "Maya," said a warm voice. She turned and saw Mr. Harold, walking with his cane but smiling proudly. "You've done more in a few months than I did in years," he said, handing her an envelope. Inside was a letter naming her director of the foundation. Her eyes widened. "Sir, I can't." He raised a hand gently. "You already have. You're the reason I believe in kindness again. You gave me a reason to keep giving." Tears welled in her eyes as she hugged him. "You changed my life." He smiled softly. "No, Maya, you changed mine first." As he left with his bodyguards, Maya looked around the room, at students laughing with seniors, at volunteers helping strangers, and felt her heart fill with quiet pride. That simple day at the grocery store had started a ripple she never saw coming. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness doesn't just change a day, it can rewrite destinies.